Okay, I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. The first thing we have is assignment for request for council action. We have 19-219, advance request, 19-220, budget amendments, 19-221, amend code 15301, association memberships for the ED, 19-222, increase expenditure, protect security sales for the police, 19-223, 2020 concrete pavement general services program, 19-224, RFP's comprehensive plan update, 19-225, grant application, certified local government fiscal year 2020, 19-226, increased expenditure, Orion Equipment, Street Department, 19-227, capital bill request fiscal year 21 and 22, 19-228, expenditure over 25,000, Jet A Fuel, 19-229, amend code 13301, association memberships, the mayor, 19-230, amend ordinance 119-18, Lafayette Township Policing Agreement, 19-231, amend job description, police administrative assistant, 19-232, amend ordinance 105-13, bids for South Broadway reconstruction, 19-233, MOU with Medina County Sanitary Sewer Replacement, South Broadway, 19-234, amend 15301C, Civil Service Commissioner compensation, 19-235, amend aquatics manager pay grade. Next, we have an executive session.
I make a motion at 5:31 p.m. to go into executive session for a conference with the law director of the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject to pending or imminent court action, to include the mayor, the law director.
That's fine. Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Lamb.
Yes.
Hazelton. Yes. Shields.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Simpson. Rose.
Yes.
Heffernan.
Yes.
We're recessing into executive session to discuss, as Mr. Shields just mentioned, returning from executive session and commencing finance and taking no action of the information in executive session. We are in recess. Okay, now we go to item number 3, it's a parking deck update, and Patrick, did you come back down?
Yep.
Okay.
Appreciate it. We put this issue up here, I think most of the council's aware, we have the looming winter months coming in. You can see that the parking deck, we've got all the slab on grade placed just in the last couple weeks. Now the issue is what to do going forward. I know you're aware that the CPS provided a price, an estimate to provide winter protection. During the winter months, it was on the order of $150,000. We weren't interested in that, so they came back and gave us another cost, their estimate for delaying the project, and we're trying to administratively review that now. And I think John, I think you all know John and Matt. They wanted to come by and kind of basically explain to you their position and where they're at, and try to give you as much information as they can.
Yes. Thank you for having us. When we bid the project, the intent was for it to be awarded, and us to receive a notice to proceed on 7/31. Our schedule had us starting, I think, the 3rd or the 5th of August, which is the most opportune time to obviously do construction in our area. We didn't get the notice to proceed, for whatever reason, until I think it was the August 30th. So until we get that is when we're able to actually start on the project. So we couldn't start on the project until that occurred. So we lost a month of premium weather time, and our original schedule that we submitted with our proposal had us working in August and getting all the concrete work completed towards 3rd week of November. So we lost that month. So now winter came a little bit earlier. It's always kind of, you never know when it's going to come in Akron, Medina, Pennsylvania area. They came a little bit earlier than normal. So with the delay and now winter's upon us, we obviously couldn't get all the concrete work done that we were anticipating had we been awarded the notice to proceed on 7/31. When we bid the project, we had to base it off of getting that notice to proceed. So we were figuring we were going to work in August, September, in October and November. And we felt that that was enough time to get the structure done. We would have completed the structure, the concrete structure portion of it. And that's really the driving factor of winter conditions, and also that's what drives getting all the other work to follow. Our intent was, once that was done, we'd be in December and January, and we'd be able to like hang plumbing pipe, hang conduit for electrical. Those are things that aren't contingent, weather contingent. And then come January and February, that's when our area and this area gets pretty locked down with very cold temperatures. And that was our kind of weather where we thought the project would probably come to a stop for a month. We had that in our schedule. And then it would pick back up in March. So because we lost the original month, we're kind of behind. And you can see we got the slab on grade, but we're about a month behind with getting the concrete structure complete. So, and I agree with you guys, but by not selecting to do the cold weather conditions, it's not the most, the best way to construct a parking structure, any kind of structure in the wintertime. However, by delaying it, there's costs associated by just losing that month. Because we couldn't get certain items done, i.e. the finish the concrete, that sub has, extra costs to leave the job and come back, and some escalations to come, to finish their work that they were projected to finish in 2019 to come back and finish in 2020. Some work that we were planning on doing with electrical and plumbing, they also have to come back. So they're minor costs. And then because we lost time, the maximum we're projecting is 2.5 months extra on the project schedule. If we can do better than that, obviously our portion that we proposed to you guys would come down. Say Matt and I were talking on the way up, I mean, if we could get it done in a month and a half, that our 40,000 would be reduced because we wouldn't need that time. We were just trying to give you guys the maximum with this kind of presentation of what we would be asking for, which is 87,000. Of that portion, you guys have that 40,798 would be for us, and it's basically our supervisor, everything to run the job. So if we were able to get it done and not need the extra 2.5 months, it'll only take a month and a half, we would obviously scale that down proportionately. So those are the factors of why we're asking you for this. I think that, any additional discussions, questions, we're here to answer. We understand and we're cognizant of, that there's certain restraints on funding for you guys. So if there's things on the design you'd like to look at to offset that, we would be willing to sit with whomever to, if this is beyond your funding, to help offset that. Whatever we can do, we're not here to hurt anybody. We're trying to be helpful, but these are actual costs.
So, Mr. Fredo, what exactly are you asking of the city council?
We're asking to be reimbursed for these charges for the delay, to have to stop the project and to pick back up.
And you're saying that the cost of the delay is $87,000, so you're asking for $87,000.
With and also with a disclaimer that if we can get the project done and don't need the full 2.5 months, that would be reduced. We're not,
When you say you don't need the full 2.5 months, what does that mean?
Well, the reason why we say that is our intent would be to be back in March to pick up with the concrete phase of the project. Yeah, as we all know, sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate, and if that pushes us back, it's going to push us further back into the year. So we just can't make that, we just can't look into the future like that and predict what the weather's going to do in March.
So it'd be a cost
But
and a time
I
extension.
would feel comfortable stating that would probably come down to 2.5 months and the associated costs.
2.5 months is from March to the end of June, is what you're saying?
Well, no, it would be currently the schedule says we have to be done June I forget, June 26th. So right now, Mr. Huber, we're asking for July, August, and half of September.
You want to the middle of September.
That's, we're giving you a safe number at this
So you
point.
signed a contract that starts in August and runs through June, which obviously contemplates winter construction, and what you're saying today is you want an additional 3 months out from that, is that correct?
Well, the contract did not start until,
Yeah, so we lost 30 days, so how do you get to September?
Well, like I was explaining to you, because we didn't get the structure up, all those other things cannot commence. That was the detriment of losing. The critical path is the concrete work. And once we lost that window, that's a domino effect. But I'm telling you, we talked about on the way up, we think the 2.5 months is a safe time.
So 2.5 months is a 2.5 month extension from the current completion date?
Yes, sir. And we felt it would be better to err on the side of caution rather than be back here in front of everybody next June or July and say, oh, we're too aggressive with that date when we sat here in front of you in December.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate the information. I think, Patrick, I mean, you're in charge of the product, we have a signed contract, and, you know, try to work something out and let us know. Okay, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right, we got item 219, fund advance request. We have, the first one is, well, I guess this is the first one. Is it a CDBG, 150,000 from the CDBG project, come out of the general funding? Yeah, be reimbursed.
Right.
Are any questions? From a grant?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have 19220 budget amendments. The first one we have.
Are you approving both advances there?
Oh,
or
wait.
just two of them?
They're under the same, well, we'll do them separately. So is there a motion for the second funded grant of 116,000?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? So the first one we just approved was a funded, a grant advance from the CDBG allocation of 150. The second one is the same thing, but for 116. General fund, that one's from the 108 account.
This one isn't actually a grant. This one is that project that we're doing where the county is doing the sewer. We're gonna have to pay for it, but they're reimbursing us because it's their sewer. It's our contract.
On Broadway.
Right. Yes. That's the right word, project. Remember, they weren't originally gonna do it, and then Pat brought it back because they decided they wanted to redo
To
the
fix
sewer
it.
while we were
Yes,
there.
okay, yeah, I got it.
County.
The Yes, county.
Yeah.
So the county will reimburse us that amount.
Right.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Wait, it is. Pardon? We did do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And then we got 19220 budget amendments. We have year-end 2019-058.
Okay, the first four of these are new appropriations. One is the advance that we just talked about, and then the couple things for the courts and refunds of unpaid money, which we have to do an encumbrance for by the end of the year. The rest of them are not new appropriations, they're just adjustments from one line to another, and it's just covering negatives if we get to the end of the year.
So the first one is 058.
Move to approve year-end items.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next one's a check from Medina Girls Soccer Softball Association.
It's passed through.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next one is the Wellness Fund checks.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next one is to correct negative balances on
And the
various
same as what we
accounts.
did a couple lines up.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next one is to correct, a correction to the 134 fund,
Move to approve.
Second.
and that's 34,000, is that right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next one is South Broadway project. This is for the sewer.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, then we got 19-221, amend 13301 association memberships for economic development.
I'll take it. It's just a request to join the Ohio Aviation Association due to our municipal airport. It'll be a good resource. They presented at the executive director of the association presented at the last Economic Development Committee meeting at the airport. Annual fees $550, which is pretty reasonable. She's really, the executive director seems to be really clued into state and federal funding sources, and it would be a beneficial economic development airport needs to help get more funding that way and have more people on our side.
Questions on that? I was at the meeting. I think, who else was there? This has all-
You approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Anything to say about
Aye.
that?
All opposed? Okay. No, the meeting was great. I mean, she gave a good presentation. It's for $550, of which she can do for the airport
Right.
with other grants, because we pretty much fund the airport through grants.
Right.
Greg, does the airport commission ever meet? You know, I'm on the airport commission, I've only ever been to one meeting.
That's
And I
why
was
we-
really looking forward
That's
to
why
it.
we never have a meeting, Bill. No, actually, we had 2 more meetings and you didn't make it.
Ouch.
Did I know you had them?
Yeah, you did.
Never mind.
19-222, increase expenditure for Pro-Tech security for the police. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. We're requesting to increase our PO with ProTech Security for equipment for our detective bureau.
Questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 19-223, 2020 concrete pavement general services program. Patrick?
Thank you. This is our annual program for basically miscellaneous concrete repairs, street and sidewalk. We use this predominantly for our sidewalk repair program, which will be in full force in the spring.
Did we complete everything from last year, or this year, I guess it is?
Correct.
So, the reason it seems like we just wrapped up the other one, now we're starting this one, is because I asked Patrick for next year and future years, let's try to get the thing scheduled, awarded and scheduled for the summertime when the schools aren't in session, because it becomes problematic when we have these lane closures in close proximity or in front of the schools with the buses and whatnot. So we're gonna do our best to try to get these done, at least the ones adjacent to the schools during that period.
Right, Pat?
Correct.
Nino, you got anything? You're on this list, we're here too.
No, sir. Looking forward to 2020.
All right.
Good answer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 19-224, RFPs, comprehensive plan update for consultant selection. Jonathan?
Yeah, so this is just, in November, we had, this item came to Special Legislation Committee of City Council, discussed, putting out an RFP for new comprehensive planners. It's about 12 years old. That's getting pretty old, so it's good to do it every 10 to 15 years, do a new comprehensive plan. So this request has a draft RFP attached to it, which is pretty much the same as the one that was in front of Special Legislation Committee. And then I have on the RCA just a general timeline of how it could probably lay out as we go through the process, go through a normal process. Once we actually get into the meat and bones of the process, shouldn't take more than 12 to 18 months. 18 months is pretty long for a community of our size. So we just ask that you approve it and we can move it up through the process, get it going. One of the big things for council to kind of think about is that at some point when we kind of get through the ordinance and kind of get it out, we really got to start thinking about the composition of a steering committee. So just kind of throw that out there for everybody to understand what that, start thinking about potential members. Thank you.
On that section, that would be the steering committee, where it says mayor, council, appoint steering committee, et cetera, HPB, BCA. The very last word is resident.
Yeah. General residence, it could also
It
be
should be
multiple
plural,
residents.
right?
Yep,
Okay.
doesn't have to be just one. No.
Okay. And I think that, thanks, Jonathan, but I think that council, it would behoove us to be it'd be good for us to be heavily engaged in the process of, how it is, how we put this together and what the end product is, so that when we get to the end, because it's an expensive thing to do with the administration, so we get to the end, it speaks to the things that we really feel are that overview that we talked about, because we know it's gonna last again, another 10 years. And the more that we're engaged in the process, the more likely it's going to end up being something that we feel comfortable with, understanding we've got to feel comfortable with it for, way out into time, it's kind of extension into time.
Well, thanks for volunteering. Here for your committee.
And an important part for the funding part, we anticipating it in the current allocation, CDBG allocation grant. We had $20,000 allocated through there to help fund this process.
And you're using carry forward funds also.
And then I've been saving the carry forward. My predecessor, Greg Hannon, was saving carry forward to do this particular thing.
We appreciate that. Any other questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Would it be more prudent, I know that it would put the process off by a year, but would it be more prudent to wait another year until we have current census data in? That way, rather than operating on 10-year-old data, we would have the most up-to-date information?
We could do that. Alternatively, the American Community Survey that the Census Bureau does on a regular basis between decennial censuses is usually statistically designed to be appropriate for purposes of between the major censuses. So we could rely on American Community Surveys results to kind of get to what we would need for the full. And after the census, it's at least a year and a half before we have results, so that could be 2022 before we really have decent results out of the Census Bureau. So we can take a look at it as we go through. I would say, due to the age of the comprehensive plan, it's probably good to move forward. We can work with the consultant and say, let's make sure we have data that's good enough. 2010 census may not be appropriate. Let's look at American Community Survey information.
So you feel the American Community Survey information is just as reliable as a new census?
It is. It's designed to kind of catch changes and trends between the every decade general census.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
How often do they do that survey?
Every couple of years. And they kind of target specific areas and specific, they design it so that it's not hitting everybody, but it's designed to be accurate and instructive for everybody's purposes.
When was the last time they did that?
I think it was 2017,
Okay.
kind of hit our MSA.
Anything else?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 19-225 grant application for certified local government fiscal year 2020. Jonathan?
Yes. This one is, so we are a certified local government, a CLG, through the State Historic Preservation Office, Ohio History Connection, depending on what you want to call it. And they have a grant process to help fund specific projects and whatnot. In partnership with Heritage Ohio, which is a private nonprofit that manages Main Street programs in the state of Ohio. They want to do in 2020, they want to do an old house fair. We did one in 2016. I want to try to do that again, but kind of partner with, potentially having McDowell Phillips House site and grounds is kind of the location for that, which could be a good synergy between what the Historical Society is trying to do with the property itself, and then the purpose of an old house fair. So the grant has to be applied by the CLG city, so we are the CLG, but we can designate a third-party administrator. And since the Old House Fair would be completely Heritage Ohio's event, city staff may help kind of in-kind purposes, but there's really no funding intended. So that $5,000, they're looking to be like, okay, they're gonna request $5,000 to help fund a $10,000 to $15,000 cost of an event. That remainder money would be the responsibility of Heritage Ohio to acquire. So there wouldn't be any money out from the city. The city wouldn't manage it, staff time wouldn't be there managing the actual grant administration. Obviously with our names on it, I'll keep an eye, Sandy and I will keep an eye on it though, just to make sure that they're not going sideways on us, but Otherwise, it's really just, it has to be kind of a pass-through grant. We have to apply due to the nature of the design of the grant.
That was 2016.
It was
that?
2016, yeah,
It was on the square.
it was.
Yeah, yeah, that was a nice event.
Yep.
Were we, part of it, was part of that at the Root Company? Am I wrong?
I believe there may have been one of the sessions at their
Yeah,
communities,
yeah,
their community
yeah.
room, and then there was
Yeah.
some at the library.
Yeah, you're right,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's an old house, very-
They had people, I don't know, I was a part of it, they had some folks that were involved in, there was someone there from Buffalo, New York, I think, that was, there were people that came in from out of state that were
Yeah.
doing demonstrations.
Yeah,
on-
demonstrations of how to like put new weights in your old wood
Yeah.
frame, your wood windows.
It was really
Tuck point-
pretty
Tuck point
informative.
masonry,
Yeah.
fixed masonry, if you need to reshingle, cedar shake siding or something like that. It's just kind of like the physical nature of old buildings and kind of develop those skills for yourself. If you own a house and you want to kind of do that for yourself, it's just kind of.
For us,
Old house
I
fair.
thought, because we have so many older houses,
We do.
there was a
Yeah.
lot of people that were interested in those kind of like, just particular things on how you do it. And they had some great expertise, a lot of people, some great expertise came in, so. Yep.
Other questions?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 19-226, increased expenditure for Orion equipment for the street department. Lino?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this should have gone to finance prior, it went to border control for whatever reason. I believe we had a typo. So the original PO was for $15,000. We're asking for a $5,000 increase. And this is what we buy our cutting edges on the bottom of the plows for winter snow and ice events.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 19-227, capital bill request for fiscal year 21 and 22. Jonathan?
I can take that one. So the state legislature has reached out to us, we've gone through this process in past cycles, looking at applying. The state legislature said, hey, what do you guys got for the 2021-22 cycle? So Kimberly, mayor, all department heads came together and kind of put together a potential project list. Those are attached to the RCA. Typically, these capital bills, funding requires 50% match, but due to funding in general, the match may have to be larger than 50%, so we would deal with that as we go along. So attached is the kind of desired projects. But we kind of need you guys to kind of give us a prioritization direction as well, so we can kind of really fine tune the application process.
All right, questions?
I was probably, I think all of them, I looked at all, I thought they were all, they all would be good. I guess I'm most inclined in particular to the, never mind.
I know, it's all just.
And we have in the RCA, staff, administration has kind of given our ideas on.
Southtown was the one, the Southtown one was probably the one that I would be most interested in. I mean, they're all good. I mean, whatever ones you pick would be beneficial to the city, but the Southtown, there's, because there's that drive by Main Street, there's that drive to work on Southtown now. There's the restoration of the Farmers Exchange when it opens in the winter. All those things have kind of come together, the meetings going on, the engagement with the neighborhoods. That, to me, lent itself to being probably one of the most significant ones, in my opinion, would be if those could be funded.
Also, isn't there, in the funding process, was there like a criteria that if there's certain collaborative efforts, do you have a more chance of getting the money and?
My understanding with this process is that it's kind of, we give priority and ideas of our own idea of priority, and then it kind of goes through the internal machinations at the state to determine how they prioritize.
Historic areas, arts and culture, they've got a list of things like that. And to Councilman Lamb's point, you'll see that on the second page, the last two don't have numbers. And that was because Main Street, the city supported Main Street in applying for a grant to try to get those numbers. so that we can include it in the capital grant. They didn't get the grant, and therefore they couldn't come up with the numbers. So, as a result of that, without having even a ballpark of what we would be looking for there, it would be difficult for us to ask for a capital grant until we can get the data, the detail to justify it. So, that's why that one is intentionally blank, because we were just not able to get the information necessary.
I know we've been talking about Reagan Parkway with the walking trail and the lights, I don't know for how long.
Yeah, that comes up every board meeting.
Over 10 years.
Yes, I think maybe, that's kind of important.
Yeah.
That'd be my number one.
If we get the lights on Reagan Parkway, that'll be,
Why are there three number
we're all, everything's number
Because they're
one.
all number one.
Kimberly asked
Jansen
if
numbered his own.
Okay.
Yeah,
It could be
Jansen
multiple.
numbered his own number one. Nino and Kimberly had their number one.
Okay.
Why is this one you can't get?
The PDF is just, it's like cited.
All right, well, I understand that we,
So if,
You just have to go
is there
like this.
consensus that number one is the East Reagan lighting?
that would be for me.
I agree.
For me.
Okay, so then,
I also am in favor of the dog park move.
What number is
That was, where's Jensen?
Memorial Park to,
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
moving it from Memorial Park, but it's really not very functional.
Yep, so there were two items for Ray Mallard Park. One, if you read through the notes there, we did actually get a CDBG grant to complete the fitness loop and put in fitness stations that are gonna be ADA accessible. That'll happen probably sometime next year. But the dog park is on our priority list, but we need to increase the parking first, because we don't wanna build the dog park and then not have adequate parking near the splash pad. So when we talked about the Huntington House, and we've been looking for a while for grants, and there's not very many that will apply to a parking lot. Potentially, Kimberly sent this list to, down to the state to see if any of these projects were or were not within their scope of being eligible for consideration. And she explained to me that the parking lot, since it would be in a recreational area, could potentially be a funded project. So out of those two items, while the dog park is important, the parking lot would probably be a little bit higher up there so that we have the support facilities to go.
Okay, so the parking lot first and then the dog park.
That would be my
Yeah,
recommendation.
okay, that makes sense. Unless you walk your dog to the dog park.
Yeah.
So Jansen, if we didn't spend if we got the grant dollars and we didn't spend, well, I guess we still have to spend 50%, right? For the match?
Yeah.
For the parking lot, that's probably gonna take out what's left of the open space. Do you know what that number is?
Ward one?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 80,000.
It was like what?
80,000.
I thought,
Let's
she
just
said
ask
at the
for
last meeting, it
71.
was like 58,000.
Who took the money?
You just awarded some for,
Yeah, we took that $9,000 expense.
Oh, for the demolition?
Demolition.
Oh,
Demolition
right.
of the house,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Should be in the neighborhood of 40,000. I don't,
Left?
yeah.
so then what about the other 31?
So, I talked with Kimberly, that's, when you look at the prioritization of the parks projects there, really the big question mark right now is, are we gonna get the grant from ODNR to extend the multi-purpose trail down Reagan Parkway? If we do, that's gonna eat up a good portion of my carry forward for the grant match, which is gonna be about 65,000 to make that trail happen. So for me to commit dollars right now without knowing that answer, it's a little challenging. But that would, the parking lot expansion would be pretty high on my priority list, depending on the outcome of this grant application through ODNR that we're waiting on. Should know this week.
Yeah, the other one that I was very interested in was work on the historic district lighting. I know those are not in great shape and need repair, and some of them are not working.
Right, been working on it for a while.
That would probably be my second.
Jensen, can you tell me a little bit about the dry vault restrooms?
Yeah, so that is a collaborative purchase. They already have a commitment from the Miracle League Northeast Ohio on. What it is, if you go to like Roscoe Ewing Park or Upper Reagan Park, Fred Greenwood, we have the permanent restrooms out there that are open year round in a vault in the ground. It doesn't look like a portable, it looks like a little wooden hut, if you will. These are concrete ones. They're a little bit more, the durability is much longer, and they are designed in a way that's a little bit easier to get in and out of in a wheelchair. At Sam Macy Park right now, we have the Miracle League that's put in about $80,000 in improvements to the baseball field over there for special needs, and the only restroom facility we have is a portable restroom. It's handicap accessible, and it would be very well welcomed in that park for that purpose, to eliminate the portable and put in a much better facility.
I'm sure it's easier to use too, handicap-wise.
Yeah, it's permanent. You get them pumped out twice a year versus, weekly or monthly service like a portable would be.
Canton, did you say Miracle League is already committed to part of this one?
Correct.
How much have they committed?
$8,000.
And the total cost would be?
$20,000.
Okay. That might be one we want to talk about
Yeah.
for one of the private foundations too, because I think that might be an interest.
Any other comments?
Good.
Do you have enough information?
Well, no, I don't think we have consensus other than number one. Because we had a number of number twos and a number beyond that, so.
Well, number one is Reagan Park.
I mean, we can have
Yeah, we
multiple
got
ones
number
and
one.
multiple twos, and just,
My number two was the historic lighting.
Correct, I would agree on that.
Me too. And Jess, you were good with that?
Yes.
All right, there's your number two.
Okay, number two is the historic lighting.
Number one was Reagan Parkway, correct?
Yeah, the lights there. So now we're down to the parking lot and the moving the dog parking lot.
Which parking lot are we
Huntington.
talking about? Dog
The
park
ex-
or
the ex-
Huntington?
The extension of Huntington.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna help with both. It's gonna help with the dog park.
So you got the parking lot and then the dog park. Number four.
So three.
'Cause it sounds like the vault
Is
for
that good
these.
for everybody?
Yeah, I think we could work on a
Massive.
grant for the
Sam
Sam
Macy.
Macy Park, the handicap crossing, if they've already got 8,000 toward it.
Okay, so when you come out of this pool, okay, all right, then we'll get the dog in there.
well, that, the Sam Macy, that one also has for Fred Greenwood, or for Huffington Cunningham Park as well, so.
Yeah, we don't have a match for it, but.
Yeah.
And I know you said this is difficult right now because we don't have the numbers for the Southtown stuff. But if we could keep working towards that to help them in some way, because the energy, like Bill said, is there right now, and that can bring some economic development with it as well.
Right, no, I agree with all that. It's just the grant deadline is, we're taking this right to council.
Right.
Oh, these numbers. Yeah, because they wanted it.
So you can't do that next.
Sorry. If I could have done it.
I think it's January 10th.
11. I think it's the 11th.
Yeah, so we're passing it on the 9th without the emergency clause, I think. and
Yeah,
then
so it
take
can make it through, so it'll be affected by that.
Yes.
Is that what you need then, Mayor?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Next one we have is 19-228, expenditure over 25,000, Jet A fuel. Keith?
This, we're putting this request in because a couple of years ago, we didn't do it before the year started and then ran out of gas and had to buy it before your meeting, and then it has to be done and now. I just want to let you know about the amount because fuel prices fluctuate, so we're kind of guessing here. We're asking for 66.5. You can see this year so far, we've only spent 48, so if fuel prices are stable with what they've been this year, that should be enough. But if we start selling more fuel or the price goes up, I will obviously be back needing additional funds because that won't be enough.
Questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 19-229, amend 13301, Association Memberships Healthy Business Council. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. So, this is a free membership for us, but we have to amend the city ordinance 13301 that deals with membership. It's for the city to join. But what this group does is talk with different people with wellness programs and try to share best practices. just for the council's benefit, Cleveland Clinic's working on a combined press release with the city of Medina. Well, there were three categories: employers with 300 or less, which we were in; medium employers with 301 to 1,000, and large employers with over 1,000. So the Healthy Ohio Award, the city of Medina received the gold award for the small employers. The Community Action Wayne Medina received a silver award, and the Medina County Health Department received a silver award. And then for the medium employers, Medina Hospital got a silver award, and Suprema in Wadsworth got a bronze award, and in Medina County, Westfield got a gold award for the 1,000 plus members. So we had 6 awards in our county, which I think speaks highly, and, you know, for the city of Medina, of all small employers to get the gold award. So the membership is just to continue to interact and share ideas and take part in this.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 19-230, amend ordinance 119-18 Lafayette Policing Agreement. Chief? Or is it Pete?
We put in this request because the auditors didn't like the way this wording, they didn't think it was clear what was being passed through. They're paying us for the amount, they're paying us the amount that they receive. The wording currently says full proceeds, and they wanted it to say net proceeds, and to clarify what that is, if we have a property tax, and it's the same for the township that collects, say, $100,000, that's the gross, but then the counties, the auditor, the treasurer, and the prosecutor each get a little piece, and then they get the balance, so maybe 98, 97, whatever. And they're not paying us the 100, they're paying us the net that they actually get, and then this also clarifies when, so that's why they wanted. We did send it to Greg, I don't know if he said.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. 19-231, amend job description for police administrative assistant. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. We have an upcoming vacancy in the administrative assistant position, and wanted to take this opportunity to change some of the items to the job description, just clean it up and update it. Hasn't been updated for a while. This was approved by the Civil Service Commission on December 4th, so we're respectfully asking that you approve this as well, so we can update this job description.
Now, upon updating the job description from the pay grade, is you're going to start the position at the A level, or is that discretionary depending on how they fall within the description of the skills that they have?
I think that's discretionary up to a point.
I just wanted to know, updating the job description with the skill changes, because the evolution of time, I don't know if that changes the pay grade.
And that's what a lot of these changes are. They're updating it for today's advances, specifically Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, budgeting spreadsheets, things like that are all computerized now. It is a necessary skill in that position.
So this is more reflective of the job being done today.
Right. Questions?
Nope.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 19-233, amendment ordinance 105-19, bids for South Broadway Street. Patrick?
Thank you. This is, of course, our red brick street repair. We had completed the plans and went so far as submitting the legal ad to start the bid process. We were contacted by the county, and they requested that we add replacement of the entire sanitary sewer along that length of the project, well, the entire project, and have it replaced with our project. I think this is a great idea. We're glad they were willing to do it and willing to pay for it, but it did cause us to delay. We had several weeks where we had to redo the plans and whatnot, so. I'd like to increase the amount authorized to cover the amount of the increase for the sanitary sewer replacement to $1,340,500. Did we want to request the emergency clause? This won't go to council till mid-January. It's already been approved by council months ago, but this modification, we'd like to get started bidding as soon as possible.
Do you remember what the brick portion was again? 170-some thousand?
Something like that, yeah. I can find out for you.
No, yeah, no, I was just, because we were originally started at like 233.
Yeah, no, it came down. It was under 200.
That's good. Is that sewer in the middle of the road, Patrick?
It is, yeah.
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 The sanitary sewer runs down the middle of that street. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great, we support it, we're just a little frustrating because we were ready to go.
Okay, questions?
And the right of way's not there to move it to the side, right?
Correct,
Yeah, because it would have been heck if we got it done and then they decided they wanted to do it. We'd be-
Yeah, we were very thankful they came forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Move to approve with emergency clause.
Second, including emergency clause?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 19233 MOU with Medina County regarding sanitary sewer replacement on South Broadway. Patrick?
We put this together because we believe we needed some sort of formal commitment from the county. Greg reviewed it and has accepted it. I guess I would like to put in, subject to law director review, because the county hasn't gotten back to the county prosecutors reviewing it. We haven't received comments back from them yet. So it may change a bit before it gets to you in January.
Okay, questions?
Move to approve subject to the law director's final approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 19234 amend 15301C of the Civil Service Commission compensation. Mayor.
That's right there. So at our last civil service meeting, one of our members asked if and when we look at the compensation for them, and I had not in my 10 years as mayor. So with the help of Kathy and Lorene, I provided you the background there, where it was originally $300, and it was raised in January of 1978 to $500. And, I'm sorry, it was raised to 500 in '05, and from 300 since 1978. So I did and I think I passed that along to you, I did that inflation calculator to show what $500 in 2005 would equate to today, and it was $758. $658. So I'm respectfully asking the council to increase from 500 to 650. The only monies we need is really 150 times 3, because we're already at the 500. And Lorene has graciously said she would use her carry forward to cover that if it's available. So the worst case scenario would be an increase of 450, and if she can cover it, she'll cover it for a net zero increase.
Good.
I respectfully ask for the approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
19235 amend aquatics manager pay grade. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. President. This should be your easiest decision of the night. I'm sad to report that Darlene Duncan, our aquatics manager, is retiring as of January 3rd, 2020. She was here since the beginning, since we opened. We've adjusted both the program and aquatics manager pay grades back in 2010 from a step 15 to a step 13. Said once the positions were vacated, we adjust again to step 11. In 2018, the program manager position was vacated, so we reduced it to an 11. And now we are requesting to reduce the aquatic manager pay grade to 11. Also, as this pay grade more reflects the latest OPRA compensation study for 2018 for this position. We'd like the change to take effect when the position has been appointed, which will not be until sometime in 2020.
Do you have to modify the job description at all, or are you all good?
No, it's good.
Questions?
I did see Darlene go.
Great.
Done a nice job with both the pool and splash pads. I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to come before finance, before we adjourn? We are adjourned.